Hey guys, welcome back to the Laid-Back Homestead. I'm Crystal, and today we are back in the kitchen. I was able to clear out some space in my freezer, and so today I'm going to be doing some freezer meals, and the focus is mainly on chicken. I have 3 recipes that I'm going to be throwing together, which should make 5 meals total if you were doing these strictly for the freezer, one of which I'm actually going to put on tonight. But yeah, it's all about chicken today. And yes, my shirt actually says fluent in foul language. So I'll flip you around and we can get started on the ingredients you'll need. And as always, I will have all of my recipes that I'm following linked down below. So the star of the show, like I said, is chicken. And today we're going to be making some chicken ranch burgers or chicken ranch patties. And I have all of my ingredients out for all 3 meals just because I'm going to try to run through this as quickly as possible. And then I'm going to be making a honey mustard chicken marinade for grilled chicken. And then I'm also going to be making a smothered chicken and gravy for the crock pot. Now this one I'm actually doubling because I'm going to put one on for tonight and then one up in the freezer. So we're going to start with this one since I'm actually actively cooking one of these tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and get this onion sliced up. I almost forgot to tell you the ingredients. You do need an onion if you're doing one of these recipes, cream of mushroom soup, some chicken broth or chicken stock, an envelope of the onion soup mix, and 8 ounces of mushroom and chicken of your choice. Because this is a crock pot recipe, I personally recommend you use chicken thighs. They just hold up better. But if your family absolutely hates chicken thighs, by all means, use the part of the chicken that your people want to eat. So this recipe actually just calls for a sliced onion. But I wanted to just say that it is back to school time for my boys. So we are in for some very busy weeks ahead, and having meals in the freezer that I can just pop out, thaw, and dinner is 90% done is the way to go. Now, because this is going in the crock pot, I did my slices a little bit thicker because they're going to be cooking down, and I made a mistake. I only told y'all about the cream of mushroom soup. You also need a can of cream of chicken soup to go with each recipe. So onion is sliced. The one that is going in the freezer, I just have right here in my Ziploc baggie. And now I'm going to trim up. I'm actually going to use the bigger pack of chicken. And since I'm working with chicken thighs, I just chop off any large chunks of fat that my family doesn't really want to deal with. You don't have to. I do find in the slow cooker, some of it will cook down, but just to make it a little bit healthier, we like to trim it. All right, got my chicken in for tonight. It says to use seasoned salt. I'm just gonna sprinkle this with some Tony's Chachere's. And then it says to layer your onions on top. So after I layered on my onions, I'm going to come in with my washed mushrooms. And then it says to mix up our soups and our onion soup mix and our chicken stock in a separate bowl. So 1 can cream of mushroom, 1 can cream of chicken, 1 onion soup mix pack. Give that a little stir, and then a 1/2 cup of your chicken stock, or chicken broth is what I'm using. So I need to make more stock. And now we're just gonna mix this until it's incorporated, and we will spoon it onto our chicken mixture. Now, full disclosure, it says to add the mushrooms on top after you do this, but I really wanted everything to cook down under this. All right, got this all mixed up. And now I'm just going to spoon it all over. And I mean, as this cooks down, it's gonna all intermingle anyway, so you don't have to be perfect. And once I got that in the crock pot, I'm doing the exact same steps again for the Ziploc bag. So in my Ziploc baggie, I have my onions, my chicken, my mushrooms. I did season that chicken as well with the Cajun seasoning, and now I'm going in with my soup mixture. I'm gonna mix that all together, label my baggie, and then I have 2 dinners done in the time it would have taken me to do 1. And I'm all about that life. All right, now we're just gonna smush it all around. Make sure all of your chicken and mushrooms and onions are incorporated. And it's easier to smush it with a little bit of air in your bag. But then before you go and put it in your freezer, you want to get the rest of that air out. And to get the air out, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can lay it flat. I'm trying to do this with camera. I'm actually going to get this as flat as possible so that it freezes flat, and then I can stack them. And I labeled it, the name of it, chicken and gravy, method of cooking, crock pot. Granted, you could do it however you really want. If you wanted to bake it, I think that'd be fine too. And then I also put the serving instructions. So in this case, serve with rice and veg on the side. And I put the year. I did that mainly just for this video because we're going to go through these well before they ever sit in our freezer. But if you run the risk of that, by all means, put the year on it. Most websites say to eat within 3 months. All right, so I'm going to jump into the second recipe, which is just going to be the honey mustard marinade. So obviously you will need Dijon mustard, some honey, calls for garlic powder, olive oil, and it calls for salt, cayenne, and just a whole bunch of seasonings that's already in here. So I'm just going to use the Tony's. And of course, you will need your chicken. I already have mine in the bag ready to go. So I'm just going to mix up this marinade and pour it in there. So in here, I'm actually doubling this recipe because I have more chicken than what the original recipe calls for. So I'm actually going to do a 1/2 cup of the mustard and a 1/2 cup of honey. All right, so I have a 1/2 cup of honey, and to that, I'm going to go ahead and add in a 1/2 cup of the Dijon. And even though I did already season my chicken in the bag, I am going to add in some more garlic powder into the actual marinade, some more Tony's, give that a stir, some measuring cup and a mixing bowl all in one, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to pour the olive oil in the bag first and then the marinade mixture. So as you can see, I already have seasoned my chicken in there. I'm going to go in with the olive oil first just because that feels right, and then my marinade mixture. And again, just like before, I'm going to smush it all together. Remember, get that air out. And for our third recipe of the day is the grilled chicken ranch burgers. Now this I am making for the first time, and I'm going to be putting this up in my freezer. I think the recipe is meant to be cooked fresh, but it does call for a lot. The original recipe calls for 4 pounds of ground chicken, which was going to make like 16 patties, which is just too much for me to invest in on a first time recipe for me. So I'm halving this recipe and only using 2 pounds of ground chicken. And then you will also need some black pepper, some Worcestershire sauce, garlic, Parmesan, help if I could reach, some breadcrumbs, and some ranch, and a big bowl to mix it all in. So let me get my measuring cup out and we will get to work on these patties. So because I'm halving this recipe, I'm going to have kind of odd measurements. Like it's going to call for 3/8 of things. So I'm going to start with 3/8 of a cup of panko, 3/8 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, and 3/8 of a cup of ranch dressing, 1.5 tablespoons of the Worcestershire, and 1.5 garlic cloves. And I'm going to do just a sprinkle of black pepper in here. And even though it doesn't call for it, I am going to add in a little bit of the Cajun seasoning that I've been using for everything. I'm gonna give this a quick mix, and then we're going to incorporate our ground chicken into it and shape it into patties. So I got that all incorporated, and we're gonna mix in our ground chicken. Now, I was intrigued by this recipe because I'm always looking for, healthier alternatives for the freezer. And my family does like to eat, frozen hamburger patties and things like that. And that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that occasionally, but I'm trying to incorporate more lean meats into our diet. So I think this is going to be a good way to go. And I've got all of my jewelry off and clean hands. And with any type of meat mixture, you don't want to really over mix it. You just want to combine it. And if you were cooking these straight away, it does tell you to refrigerate for a while to let the patties firm up before you try to grill them, and to smear a little bit of olive oil onto them. Now, because I'm not cooking these right away, I'm actually not going to put the olive oil on them. I'm going to wait until the day that we grill them and pull them out of the freezer. And then, right before we grill them, we'll go ahead and rub the olive oil on them. So this is looking pretty good. And again, because I'm doing half a recipe, I'm only going to be making 8 patties instead of the 16. And if we like it, then this will definitely be something I may do a large batch of to keep in the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and get these shaped. The easiest way that I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but I just kind of divide and divide. Okay, so I've got 4 sections, and so each section should make 2 patties. So I have a sheet pan here with some parchment paper. As you can see, I have 8 almost even patties, even enough. Doesn't have to be perfect for the home. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into my freezer on a shelf and let these flash freeze. And then once they are frozen, I will take them out and put them in a Ziploc bag. And there we have it. 5 meals, including the one that is in my crock pot. 4 meals going into the freezer. And it took about an hour. So all in all, it's a pretty good day. All right, guys, I'm outside, but I have a few chores I need to get done before the rain comes through. And I figured I would just film my outro out here. I got 5 meals or 5 proteins, however you want to look at it, done in an hour and a half. And that was with me filming and with me having to take a break so that my son could make some ramen. So all of that to say, this was really easy. And if you haven't bought into the idea of freezer meals yet, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's one of my favorite ways to get through busy weeks. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about getting through. I have 4 young children. They all live at home. They're all in school. And there's extracurricular activities and things like that. So hopefully these recipes will inspire you to get some food into your freezer. And if you like this video or found it useful, please give it a like or a thumbs up. And if you're into cooking content, I put out cooking videos every Friday, or preservation videos and cooking videos every Friday. I put out gardening and soon to be homesteading content Mondays and Wednesdays. And then on Sundays, we have our prayer requests or our little meditation videos that come out. So if any of that interests you, I encourage you to subscribe. And until next time, stay blessed.